Hello and welcome to another Pocket Process video. I'm Tracy, also known as MercyTiara, and I'm going to be sharing with you today the insert that goes inside of my late December Project Life spread, as well as the very last page of my 2025 Project Life album. So these photos here are ones that I pulled out of my late December Project Life spread, which should be the video right before this one on my channel. I noticed as I was doing those pages, I knew I'd need an insert because there were a lot of photos, but I noticed that there was a big chunk of cookie decorating photos and also a fairly big chunk of other food preparation photos. So I decided to pull out those and set them aside and make a separate insert, and that's what this video captures. I'm working with the Ellie Studio December kit, Project Life or Pocket Kit. I'm not sure what they call it. And I also have the Ali Edwards Stories by the Month kit for December as well. So those two I've combined them in my stash, and I will be using those as well as all of these photos. So as you can see, I'm just doing it one half at a time. So right now I'm doing the front half of this divider of this insert. I'm going to be using a half Becky Higgins Design A page protector. So it's the one with 2 6x4 and 2 3x4. Now I'm going to be doing a couple of flips, a lot of flips. So I went through my stash of 6x8 paper. This is mostly from Kelly Perky from a fairly long time ago. It's 6x8 and it's very thick pattern paper that has a pattern on one side and then a grid design of some sort on the other side, or sometimes lines. So I chose this one. It had a real Christmassy feel with the green and the white berries and lighter green leaves. And I'm going to use this one to document a game that we played. My apologies. It looks like I misremembered the theme of this insert. It seems like it's social gatherings, social get-togethers. Yes, that's what it is. I'll get it right. So that's a photo of us playing a white elephant game on the table at my in-laws. So I used a combination of that 6x8 piece of cardstock from my stash along with one of the cards from the Ellie Studio, and now I'm just grabbing a magnet from my stash to make this flip snap closed easily. So I just have to put a piece of washi tape over that magnet because there's a little bit of adhesive around it and I don't want it to stick to anything that it touches. So we'll do that. And you're not going to see that, so it's fine that it doesn't match or anything. Now, I'm doing some journaling on the bottom of this. It says Tanya's White Elephant Game. And now on the inside, you'll lift it up. And on the inside, we already have a really nice white background with tiny little green dots on it. So I don't feel the need to cover this up too much. And I actually really love how bright and energetic it is inside. So I have 2 photos to put inside here. And I also have a 3x4 inch card here. Those photos are printed at 2x3. It's one of my standard sizes for printing photos for Project Life. The journaling here says Tanya and Sam gave us a red cup game last year and we redecorated it and gave it back to them this year. They made us a new one this year, so now we have 2 to exchange each year. A new tradition is born. So the top photo is a photo of Liv and Sophie doing the game, playing the game. It has prizes inside of it. And the bottom photo, the one that's vertical, is a picture of our refinished game that they had given us last year. We redecorated it. That's it before we gave it to them. So we get to see both of the games in one little pocket here. So I trimmed that down so that it will fit nicely with being able to see some of those green dots all the way around it. So it's kind of matted on the page instead of filling up that side of the page. And then I do feel like this needs a little something else to give it some presence on the page. It's a little floaty there with the white border, and then it's also on a mostly white piece of paper. So I found this little die cut. I'm going to use that, and I'm just writing "Live and Soph decorated and filled this one with gift cards and candy." And I'm just underlining the journaling so it feels like it has presence on the page. And then I'll repeat that with a different little tag here. And I'm kind of layering it with the vellum too. And I'm looking for some words to further decorate this. It feels like I need a little something else. A red word strip would be ideal. So I did find a set of red words, and then we have these. But here's the red ones. I'm going to find eventually a word called wholehearted, and we'll stick that on one of the leaves of that. Yeah, we'll just put it so that it covers whatever that phrase was. The phrase was not relevant or something. So I covered it with wholehearted. That also introduces a little bit of red there to give some balance to my page. I'm using my adhesive sparingly here so that it's basically underneath of the design on the card so that it's not going to show. And then I will, those vellum 3x4-inch cards that come in the Ellie Edwards kits, they're so useful for this sort of thing. So I'm just explaining here to the tiaras who are watching this what the story is behind this. But my journaling here is going to say, Liv and Soph played Tanya and Sam's game. And I think that that's a pretty good way to say it in a tiny amount of words. So we'll glue that in place and just overlap it a little bit with the vellum card. And now it just needs a little something else here. I'm looking at my stamps and thinking I have all of these game related, like board game related stamp sets. I thought it would be pretty cool if I could use one. So I pulled out this green tag here that came in, I think that came in an Ellie Edwards kit. Looking at what stamps might fit there, and this Let's Play looks like it's going to work the best. So we'll grab that one. I'll grab some red ink. I think I'm going to use Real Red from Stampin' Up. It's my favorite red ink. There we go. And looking at it now, I kind of wish I put threads in or some type of twine or something in the hole, but I didn't. I just used it as it was, and I was thinking of ideas for something else I needed to do in my room, so I just wrote that down when it occurred to me. I'm going to just staple it in place using my tiny attacher, but I don't want the staples to show on the other side, so I'm just going to pull up the embellishment, staple it, and then lay it back down again. And just to give the tag a little bit of lift, I'm going to put some dimensional adhesive underneath of it just to give it that lift. And there we have the first card all done. Now this top card is also going to be a flip. I'm going to use the outside to hold this photo of a gingerbread house. And then inside of it, there will be other photos of the gingerbread cookie decorating. And not just gingerbread, but other cookie decorating as well. So I'm going to make a hinge here. Because I thought I knew what I was going to do, but I ended up changing my mind. So we'll just follow this all the way to the end. I can't remember what I did here, but I changed my mind about something. So we cut that down. Right. So since I was starting to make it, I just finished making that hinge and I tucked it under the other photos because that will need a hinge as well. I think my first thought was that this would be a 4x6 card with a 3x4 flip layered over it like I did in the last layout, but I decided to actually make this be a full 3x4 inch flip card, so it'll house basically 3 4x6 surfaces. So I grabbed a piece of cardstock and I cut myself a whole bunch of these hinges, and this was actually really helpful. They're 2 inches wide by 6 inches long, and then I just score it in the middle, and it was really handy to have a bunch of those in hand. So handy, in fact, that I made a whole bunch of them and I keep them in my room now, just like a whole huge stack of them that are already scored and everything. Then I'm putting score tape on 3 different surfaces, and so this one is going to be the outside flap. I need to choose an inside flap as well. I'm going to go into my stash for that because I was running out of cards that worked. So I'm first looking at my red 4x6 options, and I found everything I needed in there. I'm going to also take a quick look at, I think, the December folder there. I've got some monthly things at the back that I keep in little baggies. So I did take a look at my green 4x6 stash, but I decided to go with the red ones that I had already picked out. So I don't need that one, so I'll put that one back. Now I have my 3 surfaces, and I can start assembling it with the hinge. So we'll put the checkered one there, and then we'll put that one that it's got stars on it. And you do need to leave a little channel there for the hinge to be able to fold in order for it to all lay flatly. And then I just layered the top card on top of the other card. There's a little bit overhang there, but I'll trim that off later. Yeah, I'm just making sure. I thought maybe something was homemade and it was cut wrong or something. I couldn't figure if I laid it down crooked or if it just was crooked, but it doesn't matter. I'll be able to trim it down later, but I'm going to make the whole card first. So we'll put this gingerbread house on the outside. I have left the bottom open so that I can put a magnet in, and I just decided let's do the magnets now. So we'll put a magnet on the back there, and then we'll put that magnet. We need to figure out where it sticks. I'll draw a circle around it so I know where it is. Let's make sure we don't make that magnet flip around upside down, or it will repel instead of attract. Then we will trim this down with my trimmer just so that it doesn't have that little white sliver showing. There. Now the card is all ready to decorate. I'm going to use this Benjamin Alpha it's an Alpha stamp set from Ellie's Studio. And I have the stamps, like the block stamps, and I also have the outline stamps. So I'm going to be using both sets here and layering them together. I'm spelling out the letters that spell the word decorating. So we'll start in the middle, and I can even use my clear glass. It's a Glassboard Studio mat there to help me with that, my grid mat. I'm going to be stamping these outline letters in black using VersaFine ink. It's just my favorite bold black ink. I find stamping very soothing. Especially when you get a rhythm like this, where you sort of pick the letter, ink it up, stamp it, clean it, put it away. Pick the letter, ink it up, stamp it, clean it, put it away. These Benjamin stamps are perfect for Project Life titles. Look at how beautifully they fit in that strip that so many Project Life cards have on them. And yeah, I love a nice neutral block letter like that. It's just perfect. I also have the dies for those, so I can stamp them and then cut them out with the dies if I wanted to, but I won't be doing that here. So now I'm going to pick out the same letters so that but this time the block version, so that I can stamp in these letters. And not only does it not have to be perfect, but it actually looks better when it isn't perfect. So see how you get that little line? I really love that look. So because I'm going to try for that look for all of them, a good majority of them are actually going to be perfect. Go figure. But it does, I really love that look. It has that nice hand stamped, a little bit off kilter casual look, which I very much enjoy. So see how the A didn't stamp very perfectly there? That's okay. It's part of the look. The nice thing about using Stampin' Up! Ink is that I have the markers to go with each of these inks. So if I really wanted to fill in that A a little bit, I could just grab the marker of the same color and fill that in, and you wouldn't even know. So it says decorating, and now I need to add black letters to say cookie. These are Kelly Perky tile letter stickers. And I'm going to spell out cookie decorating, and then the title will be complete. Love these tile letter stickers. I keep them in a little photo album so that I can grab them easily. We have to do a little bit of decorating here. I just don't know exactly what. So I found one that says homemade cookies, so we'll put that aside. But I want something for the outside. And then I thought, the asterisk I think will work really well because there are asterisks as one of the main embellishments on the pages that surround this insert. So that will work really well with the existing pages. Then we have two more 2x3-inch photos for the inside. I'm outlining this label that says homemade cookies. So cute. I'm going to staple it to the photo. And I think I will layer the two photos on the top, and then that leaves me the bottom layer to add some journaling. So we'll just add them like that. And I wanted to make sure I didn't cover up any of the most important stuff there. It's okay that I covered up the part of the house because you can see the house in detail on the front of that. So I am going to use a piece of my shiny sticker paper, which I save that. It's cheap, so it's easy to use, but it's not like I save it, but I often like to use the matte sticker paper, which is more expensive. I have to buy the brand. I have not been able to find a matte no-name sticker paper yet that's clear. And so whenever something is going behind plastic anyways, that's when I tend to use that sticker paper because it's going to be shiny from the plastic sleeve. So it's okay that it's shiny on the sticker paper. Going through here and just finding other embellishments that might work, but it turns out I'm really just going to add this one. It says fueled by sweet treats and holiday cheer. And the journaling there it's hard to read from a distance, but when you're looking at it, you can read it fine. I was feeling like this needs something else, and I can see why I thought that, but I think it's fine without it too. So let's work on this little 4x6 flap. We've already made the hinge for it, so we're a step ahead already. On the outside, I'm going to use this 2x3-inch photo of myself and my best friend Stephanie. And I'm going to put it on this card here. It's got like a red and white candy cane stripe. And at first I was thinking about spelling out cookie party with letter stickers. So that's why I'm looking through my letter sticker album here. But I ended up deciding to go with letter stamps. And these wooden block letter stamps, they're very casual because you often end up getting a little bit of the edges inked, and so they have a real messy kind of look to them, and I quite like it. So I have some Stampin' Up! Ink there. It looks like it might be Granny Apple Green. Or it could be Pear Pizzazz. I can't tell which one it is from the distance. But it's one of the greens. And I'm just going to spell out Cookie Party. And I'm starting in the middle so that I can have some control over where this where this word lands. And you really don't have a whole lot of control with these little wooden block stamps because they're imperfect. They're not super high quality. And I mean, that's part of what you're getting yourself into when you choose to use this kind of a stamp. So there, I have Cookie Party, and is it ever messy? But we're just embracing it. It's okay. It's probably a little messier than I would have liked, but that's all right. I'm putting Jen's in front of it, so it's Jen's Cookie Party. And I'm grabbing a roller date stamp to mark the date, which was December 20th, 2025. That's a funny way to stamp, isn't it? Oh, I see why, because I was breaking up the year and the month. Ah, see what I did there? So I cut off the edges and then I was missing my little white border. So I'm just going to reassemble the border. There you go. It's there. So next it's time to put the hinge in place. Now on the inside, I'm just using full photos. So I can just attach the photo to this hinge. Easy peasy. Let's add a magnet so that the whole thing snaps shut. We'll pick up some ATG adhesive, add that there. There we go. We'll add the top to this. And we just need to pick up that magnet. It was already magnetized to where it was, so when I pick it up, it's definitely going to be in the right place. Add the photo for the inside cover, and it looks like I did that a little crookedly, so let's try again. That ATG is super forgiving, so you can pull it up as long as you're quick about it and careful. So this one also doesn't get a tab, but I will go back in my maintenance phase and add tabs to everything that's missing tabs. Sometimes I forget in the moment. So I'm going to add some labels here for captions. This one is going to say Tanya replicated Nena's sweater. So you can't tell this far away, but if you look at the photo, you can see that Nena is holding a cookie that it's like a sweater cookie that is the sweater that it's got the design of the sweater that she's wearing. And her daughter, my sister-in-law, made that cookie without her knowing. They were both decorating cookies together. And Nena just never looked over, or she did look over, but she just didn't clue in that the cookie was the same as her sweater until it was all done. And then she went around showing everybody how good of a job Tanya did decorating that sweater. Then I have this one says Stephanie and I are artistes because our cookies definitely there were two groups of cookie makers. There were actually three groups of cookie makers in the various places in the house during the party, and one group was really spending it was silent in their room. Everybody was just here I go making the page protector. Everyone was focused on decorating, and their cookies were all like little mini pieces of art. And then there was our room. That was a lot of laughing and carrying on, and our cookies looked pretty terrible. So there we go. It's coming together, and now we're ready to do the back side. I don't have photos of the final products for either this insert or the last page of my Project Life album, which is also included in this video. So therefore, take a look at it as I put it together, because that's probably the best you're going to see of it until I do my flip through. So the flip through will be a chance for you to see it in more detail. So now I have all of these food related photos, and these aren't even all the food related photos in the whole spread, but these were all ones that felt like they kind of went together. They were all kind of like major meal prep kind of moments. There will be no flips on this side because the pockets don't have openings. You can still do flips in that situation, but I don't want to, so I won't be. So this half of this insert is going to come together quite a bit faster than the other half, than the first half. I'm thinking about doing a flip here, but I'm going to change my mind because I think I'm kind of done with flips. I've done a lot of them. This is all the same settings. So I did the 2-page spread for late December plus this insert all in the same day. So at this point, there's been a lot of flips in my life and I'm ready for some plain project life. So I have my photos, I'm picking out cards to go with each of them, and I don't know, I'm not loving that card for those photos. I think I'll change to another one. So let's look through my stash. And I thought, let's look at my black and white stash actually, because I feel like something kind of neutral might be, ooh, that's too bold. Nope. But look at that with the lines. I do quite like that. So we're going to go with that. I feel like the photos themselves have enough color, the red, the bright, bright red of that cranberry. And then there's lots of green in my stuffing. That's actually the stuffing before the bread is added. So it's mostly just celery and onions. So at this point, I'm still thinking about doing a flip up there for that page. So that's why I picked out 3 cards, 3 4x6 cards for the top. Now I'm also just looking in here at various other 3x4 inch cards. I'm just not loving, I'm at the end of the kit at this point, so I'm not loving what's left over. So I grabbed my December pocket here. This is just a little baggie that holds a bunch of December specific themed items. And look, that W, I think that's going to work. We're going to take that one. It says winter on it. And then we have this one that says enjoying this moment. I quite like that. And so, yeah, we're going to do a little bit of a change of plans here. I reprinted this photo of the waffles and I cropped it such that it's now a vertical photo instead of a horizontal photo, and I printed it at the specific size that it would fit with enjoying this moment showing. So this is what you'll see if you join my tiaras over on Patreon. I do a lot of this kind of thing in the moment, just kind of measuring and changing the measurements. If you have a Mac, I use the photo software that just comes with your Mac. I try to not use any other software unless if absolutely necessary. And so yeah, that's how I do it. So I'm trimming that down. That one, I had to print it out just a little bit more narrow. And that way you can, because the other way it was covering up those little dangling, what are those called? Descenders. And they're so pretty. I didn't want to cover them up with the photo. So I just need it to be a little bit more narrow. So there we go. I also think I reprinted that photo so that it fits within the white square. I wrote Fee's Christmas Eve party in that little white blank on that card. I want to add just a few little embellishments here, so I'm going to grab from the Ellie Studio. I've got a little label there with a bow on it, and I'm thinking I'd like to put something on that W, maybe not cover it up entirely, but feels like it needs something green over there. So I've got a in a merry mood. I think I'll layer that with the W right there. I think that looks great. We'll put that green one right there too, to put a little bit of green on that layout, on that card as well. This is my last chance to use December embellishments until next year. So I want to get anything on my cards that I like. I'll just add an assortment of hearts and stars here. So we'll staple that in place. We'll glue this down and then probably staple it too. Yep. double staple right there. And then I'm going to do a little bit of outlining here. So I'm writing turkey stuffing and cranberry sauce so that we know what this is. Just like that. And then we'll add the heart and the star and then the second star right there. I'm going to outline these just to give them a little bit more definition from each other as well as from the background that they're sitting on. It also pulls them together. It makes them look a little bit more finished and like they belong together. There we go. I'll add staples to each of those items. And we're going to not use that. There we go. So 2 done. And now I think, oh, I've got this flip. And I'm thinking about it. And I'm thinking about, does this add anything? Basically, they're just different perspectives of the same thing. An assortment, like a charcuterie kind of arrangement. And I just decided that I don't really need that. I'll just use the one kind of nice shot that's a close-up to indicate that we had charcuterie, which we always have. So there you go. I am tacking this last page of my 2025 album right here because it didn't feel substantial enough to make its own video. I know at this point we're 30 minutes in and I could have just wrapped this one up and started a new one, but there's really nothing spectacular on this page. So I thought I'd just tag it onto this one. So I have here a bunch of cards. I think they're all Allie Edwards cards from her January kit, which included a little bit of a looking back on the year type of thing. It's not a specific New Year's kit or anything. It's just that she included some New Year's related things in the kit. So it says goodbye 2025, hello 2026. I like that. I've got one photo here to use, which is a photo of my girls on New Year's Eve. We had tapas for supper and wine and lots of goodies, all the leftover yummy things from Christmas that we didn't get a chance to open and use. We opened them and used them. So it was really fun. I have a few ideas here with journaling already printed up. So the looking back journaling was on a piece of, I think it was on, no, I printed it right onto the card. So just a bunch of things. It's all news related things. So changes, obviously lots happened in 2025. So that's all there. Then on this card here, I have the 2025 favorites. I'm writing down The Bear for the TV show, activity with scrapbooking, song Bob Cajun, and then I have a QR code that goes to the video for that song. Oh, that song is really worth checking out if you haven't heard it or don't know about it. Go check out the video. It's awesome. Books for work this year is what I've been reading mostly, and food was ribs and place is Germany. Then I also have over there the year in games. So we play the New York Times puzzles every single morning, and so I just have my little recap screen there that shows my stats for the year. Then I decided to capture the word of the year. So this year's Merriam-Webster's word of the year was slop. And so I'm spelling out the word slop, and I want it to be black so it kind of stands out. Also, it's a dark word, right? So putting it in black kind of works. I'm overlapping it with the words this year, and this font is almost exactly the same as the font that says this year, so I think that looks pretty good like that. And I am going to I have the information there on my phone, I just looked it up, Merriam-Webster's word of the year, ... and then I've got a colon. I had to draw in the colon and then slop. It says low quality digital content produced in large quantities, often by AI. And then it says summed up in one word. So that's something that I haven't done in other years, but I would like to do it moving forward. I think it's a good way to kind of capture the vibe of the year. I want to put something behind that vellum piece, that golden vellum piece about goodbye 2025, hello 2026, but it's not going to be that one because I don't like it. It's not right. But I am going to back the other large quote there in gold with that orange card with stars on it. I do like how that looks. Now this one I am going to print on my printer for that one that says looking back on 2025 and looking ahead. This one says the week between Christmas and New Year's, here's what's happening. I'm going to put an arrow and point up, and it says movies, games, lots and lots of leftovers, turkey soup, charcuterie, and sweets. So I'll put an arrow pointing up so that it's clear that that's what the photo is above. Plus, I really like how that red arrow looks with that red plus sign. It looks great like that. I'm not sure I was thinking of that when I chose it, but it works well. So that's how that looks. I was going to handwrite this, but I'm going to use my printer and print it instead. And I think because this section of the video is so short, I think I'm going to include how I edit that, and just you'll get a sense of it. So that little tag down there says goodbye 2025. And here's how I do my journaling on 3x4 inch cards. I have this set up in Pages as a 3x4 inch piece of paper. And then I can just put whatever I want on it, and I can see exactly how it will look on a 3x4 inch card. And so I need it to be like a chunk of words and then a space and then another chunk of words. So I just eyeball it and try it out with a scrap piece of paper. I print it on my Epson PictureMate 400, my PM 400. And as you can see, oops, it's covered by the other thing, but I'm just comparing it to where the lines on the real card are, and it looks like I had to space it a little bit differently. Tried it again, and you can see that that one seems to be working well. So the second one was a go. So now I'm just printing it through right on the card. And there we go. We have some reflections on 2025 and some reflections on the future of the year coming up. Now we have this one that says goodbye 2025, and it's white, and I'm putting it on this card that's already white. So I'm just looking for a marker to make it be some other color besides white. So I just glue it down with a piece of temporary adhesive, and then I took one of my Stampin' Up! Markers. I can't remember which color I used, but I just colored it in so that it's going to provide a little bit more contrast and add a little pop of color to the card as well. So there we go. And that is pretty much it. I think I'm going to show myself putting the cards into place, and then you'll get to see how I don't decide to go with that big polka dot in the background of the vellum. So we'll put everything in place. Oops, it looks like I forgot to glue that down. It says around the table. We'll staple it too. There we go. We'll put all of these cards in place. That is, of course, two cards. It's a vellum and a card. Now with this one, I'm having a hard time putting this in. I'm going to cut it down, and then I don't actually love it. So I was going to take it out altogether, and then I noticed I actually like the back side of that card better. So it's got like a teal polka dot on it, very tiny polka dot. So that is the resulting page. So as I mentioned, I don't have any photos for this spread, but I wanted to thank these folks who are my Patreon tiaras. They help make this channel happen, so big thanks to them. And also really big thanks to you too for watching all the way to the end and for your continued support of my channel. Take care and have a really great scrappy week.